December 26th. What's going on? And welcome to this Boxing Day edition of what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program. This is our Dollar Loan Center video segment of the day. So we'd like to welcome in our video audience on our YouTube and X and Twitter and all that platform stuff, along with our traditional, lovely, and very talented radio audience. Prater, no traffic today. According to our weather or our traffic report, they are cruising on I-84 right now. And that's what you'd expect, right? The Tuesday after Christmas, where only people like me and you and jobs like this have to come in and stinking work today, man.
Yeah, there's people out there working, but hopefully they're going home and hopefully they're enjoying the safe ride and the freedom of traffic.
You're right. It's 5:02, right? That's all you need, Get there, get that beverage, whatever you're working on. Enjoy some games tonight. And Prater and I will be back tomorrow, though. We're going to do this show again tomorrow.
Damn right we are.
Heck yeah, we're going to be ready to go. This is kind of your segment for the next 20, 30 minutes at 208-424-9300. What is the Boise State football story of the year? You're making a movie, you're writing a book, a screenplay, whatever it is, and you have 5 options, okay? 5 finalists, if you will. Where are you going with this? 208-424-9300. Start us off, Prater. First with our list of finalists, and then let's get into what our Boise State football stories of the year are.
Our Boise State story of the year football finalists are Mountain West Championship. Pretty good story there, and it would stand on its own in most years. Andy Avalos getting fired, Spencer Danielson getting hired. The name, image, and likeness / transfer portal and the impact that had on this football team. You guys know the dirty details, good and bad, for the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness becoming a very dirty word or a good word, depending on how you use it in college football. And then also Ashton Jeanty on and off the football field. Probably the best all-around running back in all of college football this year. And then he did something that nobody's ever done. He's going to stay at Boise State. He got himself a $400,000 package through name, image, and likeness, through the Horseshoe Collective and whatever. There are other details around in terms of how that package came together, and he's going to stick around when, in fact, everybody around here thought that Ashton Jeanty was going to leave and go chase Power 5 riches. So 5 unbelievable storylines, 5 unbelievable nominees for story of the year. Most seasons, any of those would win on their own. Ballgame, we have a dilemma. We can't figure it out. I have mine, you have yours. But I don't think any of us feel too strongly about ours because all 5 of these stories are pretty good.
208-424-9300, our Double Tap Pub hotline. If you saw all those stories right in front of you, you're going to click on one first, right? What's the first storyline you click on for Boise State football? For me, transfer portal / NIL. And the story for me is Boise State keeps Jeanty. That's my story. And it might not even be a Jeanty story. Maybe this is more of a transfer portal NIL collective story about those guys. And if I'm writing this script, Prater, if I'm writing this book and this is my big story of the year, I'm going to talk about, Joe Nickel at the Western Collect, at the NIL, at the collective. I'm going to talk about Jeremiah Dickey, some of the big boosters who maybe helped make this happen. Just how this story transformed from, well, there's no chance we have to keep this guy, to figuring out a way, making the calls, setting up the meeting with Jeanty, with his parents, his people, whoever he was having handle his business, whatever his team was there. Just Boise State keeps the kid, Prater, to me. And you said the story you're having, your favorite story or your big story, has never happened. That certainly has never happened in Boise State history, where, dude, they found a way to pay a guy. That to me was the craziest story. That, and again, Boise State can compete with the Alabamas and some of these guys when it comes to just keeping the one guy. They're able to do it. That's my story.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't happened, and it's a beautiful story. It's a wonderful story, but I think we'd have to go back and listen to our debates here. I certainly wasn't convinced that Ashton Jeanty was automatically going to leave, but knowing what his background is, who his parents are, what he represents here, I think he's just a little bit different than the McAllisters of the world who gave up on this football team, the Taylor Greens who gave up on this football team. Seems like Ashton Jeanty, getting to know him throughout the season and him dropping hints and truth bombs every now and then, just seems like a mellow dude. And Boise State's got a track record of putting NFL running backs into the NFL straight from Boise State. So I was surprised. I'm not going to sit here and say that we weren't surprised when that package came together, but I thought that there was a chance he could stay. We know he's got a great relationship with James Montgomery as running back coach. It seems like he's got a pretty healthy relationship with Bush Hampton and Spencer Danielson. So I think that that's my number 2 story of the year. The title and Spencer Danielson and the transfer portal NIL, that stuff is all kind of taking the backseat. The big stories to me were Ashton Jeanty this year and Andy Avalos. Andy Avalos getting fired early in the season after a monster victory. I know that the seat was hot. There was a lot of chatter out there. We went to bed that Saturday night. Boise State, you're thinking they've got things back on track. Maybe they're going to be okay here. They've been juggling like crazy, and Andy Avalos seems like he's just got done with his most dominating victory. And by 9 o'clock the next morning, as everybody's going to church or watching the NFL or whatever the hell we do on Sunday mornings, Pete Thamel puts out a tweet, and Andy Avalos is fired. Boise State's never fired a football coach midseason. Boise State's only fired 3 football coaches in 70 years of football, for crying out loud, period, regardless of the timing. And just the fact that he was such a popular player. I mean, this guy was probably, Kellen Moore stands on his own. Let's
defensive players. Let's just talk cherished, loved defensive players in this history.
He might be at the top of the list with other players, the Leighton Vander Esch's. He's not going to stand alone, and Kellen Moore stands alone. But I think Andy Avalos was in that second tier of offensive and defensive players. I mean, there's defensive or offensive skill players like the running backs that go off and do wonderful things that people are emotionally attached to, but everybody loved Andy Avalos coming into this. When Andy Avalos was hired, I don't think there was anybody against this. Certainly as the season started this year and it got ugly, it turned really fast and really ugly. And all of a sudden, a beloved brother, a legendary former football player, a football player who, if he doesn't take this job, will one day end up in the Boise State Athletics Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we can say that now because he's got this hiccup on his resume. It's a nasty, ugly, crazy hiccup, and Andy Avalos, to me, was by far the Boise State football story of the year.
Yeah, the finalists. Andy fired, Spencer Danielson hired, the conference championship, kind of an NIL / transfer portal story, and then just the lovely that is Ashton Jeanty, our storylines of the year. What do you think would be your storyline of the year on those finalists? Let's open it up, JP. 208-424-9300. Are we putting too much attention into the Ashton Jeanty NIL deal and the Andy Avalos being fired? Is there another one of these storylines that we should be talking about maybe a little more? I mean, it's crazy, Prater. They won a league. They won the conference championship game as well. And I don't know where that is on the list. I know they've won like 20 of them, but it had been since 19 since they had won a conference championship. Think about that. That's a long time around here, 4 or 5 years. And that's not the top of mind here. Hey, they were the conference champs. That's the story of 2023.
And that explains exactly how crazy 2023 is. Through the process of this show, we've gotten three of these, Avalos, Jeanty, and Spencer Danielson have all gotten votes. What's the stat that Jeremiah Dickey, whether it's accurate or not, I'm not sure, but what's the stat that Jeremiah Dickey keeps throwing out? That Boise State at one point this season had a 0.1% chance to win a Mountain West championship.
Yeah.
Let's even just get rid of that zero. Let's say they had a 1% chance to win a Mountain West championship, and they did it. Normally, that's always going to be your story of the year. The fact that if we put out a poll and put out these 5 nominees, I think winning the Mountain West championship would finish last.
I was thinking maybe, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe transfer portal NIL would finish last, maybe because it's spooky, it's scary, it's bad news. It's, it's not a happy storyline at all.
No. Well, but you turned it into a happy story.
You're right. It totally is.
You kind of cheated, but I think it's the right thing to do. You combine the transfer portal and the NIL and Jeanty into one, and you can't have the Jeanty story without talking about name, image, and likeness. So I think that's a creative way to put those together, because they're certainly transformed at the hip, but, yeah, I think the Mountain West title kind of gets lost this year. 1% chance to win it, and they pulled that sucker off because of what Spencer Danielson did. That's why he's on this list, and how he united this locker room, really, really, really captured the love and attention of this community when it was really, really bad and checking out. Spencer Danielson kind of saved the day, and most people agree. Even though I wrote a column over the weekend saying that Spencer Danielson's hire is still one of the concerns with this football team, By the way, how despicable is that as Prater? On Thanksgiving Eve, puts out a column, here's 10 things I don't like about Boise State football. The timing was probably not the best timing I've ever had, but sometimes you have to do those things. And one of those concerns is Spencer Danielson. For me, I have concerns about Spencer Danielson, the way he carries himself off the football field and the future as a football coach on the football field. But they had no choice but to hire him because of what he did, and we can't wait to follow that story.
Is that Spencer Danielson? Where does that rank on the story of this year? Yeah, they hired the interim. It doesn't happen a lot. And they did at Boise State. And, Prater, is that your most recent column?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he said Thanksgiving. He got his holidays messed up.
Did I say Thanksgiving?
You catch that, JP?
Oh.
Yeah, no, I didn't think twice about it.
It was Christmas weekend.
Yeah, it was Friday and Saturday.
Confused like I was over here. But yeah, it was the most recent column. Go read that on BlueTurfSports.com and Bronco Nation News.
Yeah, or don't, because it's terrible timing. Terrible timing. I thought I was going to burn and go to hell as I was writing that.
Is that why you went to church?
That's why I went to church on Sunday, so I can repent and talk some football.
It's interesting because that a couple of things you said there. With the Danielson. Well, first off, if you put all these if all these stories, these storylines for this year came out like when they normally would have, and you counted the number of clicks, Andy fired. Like if you wake up in the morning and you find out your coach is fired, that's an instant click. I mean, that's huge, especially coming off the win against New Mexico the night before.
I believe so, correct.
That's like stop everything you're doing and call or text your 4 or 5 biggest Boise State friends, your biggest relatives, like, hold on, I got to stop for a second. Andy Avalos just got fired. I got to go see about this real quick.
Absolutely true.
Like it's one of those stories. Like you're not going to catch up with it later. And, maybe when people heard when they're sitting there, wait, Ashton Jeanty is staying with Boise State. He got a deal that is satisfactory to him. He's ready to go. He's going to remain a Bronco. Here's that deal. You're getting 1 million clicks on that too. I want to know what that deal is. So, man, what a crazy year. I know we said that 1 million times about this football season. 208-424-9300. What was the Boise State football story of the year? Hell, we'll even let you add a story. If you don't like any of ours and you're like, you guys are wrong, it's this. Well, show us what that is. And Prater, we wanted them to keep sharing those Christmas ideas. Huh? What were they doing?
What Christmas gifts you received sports-wise, and what Christmas gifts did you give sports-wise? We'd like to hear your stories today.
Are there certain kids? What do kids want, moms and dads out there? Like if you have a sports-loving kid, what do you get them? Here for Christmas? Share those with us, JP. One more quick reminder, Idaho's premier fly fishing event. It's coming to Expo Idaho Friday and Saturday, January 5th and 6th. You can win tickets if you want to go to the Western Idaho Fly Fishing Expo right now. Text the keyword fish to 208-424-9300. Fish. Text it right now, JP.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studio.